Real Books Don't Have Batman.
Because they don't.
I'm Frank Duran.
I'm Deshaun Vasquez.
And this week is our first ever week doing an actual video recording of us doing our podcast.
You get to see us move our mouths, and whenever we say we're making ridiculous faces about how we react, you might actually see it.
Well, it's just kind of strange. And it's brought to you by GAUstudios.com. Be sure to subscribe to their YouTube because this will only be on their YouTube. The podcast will still happen on our SoundCloud and happen on every other site. Geeky Universe, Rhymes with Geek, Comics Related, Comic Podcast Network,
and all the other places we're at. But if you want to see our faces,
you'll have to go to GIU Studios YouTube. But we're going to keep stepping it up every time. So, like, this is just our first pilot episode, so we got a white background, and we're just going to talk.
Hey, if the Nostalgia Critic can do it, we can
do it. Yeah, we could definitely do it. So, we'll go right into it. Let's go right into the comics we read this week. Let's talk about some Marvel books. What you reading, Thor?
I read Thor God of Thunder number 22.
All right, well, how did you like it?
Good stuff. I feel like they're starting to spin their wheels a little bit. It's mostly because I don't find the Roxxon storyline as interesting as, like, the God Butcher and the God Bomb. So to, like, dial it back a little bit.
They try to make a street level, and it's not exactly working.
It's not as interesting.
No.
I mean, there are still interesting things going on, like the little romantic subplot Thor has with this new S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and whenever it cuts to the future with old Thor fighting Galactus, I'm really into that stuff.
Yeah.
But I just don't find Roxxon that big of a threat.
Yeah, but now they're in every one of the books. I mean, Roxxon's in Ultimate Universe.
Roxxon's always been a thing. But I just want Thor to fight something bigger. it's because
it's kind of like AIM, where you're like,
they're following it. It's because they're following it after the God Bomb stuff and Malekith.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of not as big. It's not as bombastic,
but it's still good. I think for that, I would give this issue a 7.
Okay. The issue I read that I know we're skipping books, but I wanted to name the book I read that you didn't read. Sinestro number 2 came out this week. Now, I didn't like Sinestro number 1, even though we love Chris Bunn's series, Colin Bunn's series on
Magneto,
like fantastic. But here in Sinestro, it just seemed like he nerfed Sinestro, and it was a weird, convoluted. It was just New 52 like crap, like the stuff that everyone's afraid New 52 would do.
Stuff that people complain about.
That was Sinestro. Like it was just all the bad things into a tight little ball. But like this second issue feels more comfortable, like, because Sinestro's actually in his Yellow Lantern costume and he's doing stuff, you know, like, he's doing Yellow Lantern stuff and he's winning back the corpse, which...
Core.
Yes, the core. And they gave up on him and now he has to fight him back. This has happened 2-3 times now, where Sinestro leaves the core and he just comes back and kicks the shit out of him.
Yeah, just beats him up, just like I'm in charge.
Which is it's not bad to see it here. I mean, it's a little, like, I've seen this before, but at the same time, Sinestro's now OP. It's like he is
because he still has Parallax, right?
Yeah, he's still wicked crazy. Like, he dissolves, he kills a Sinestro Corps member and then dissolves their ring with just a move of his hand, which is kind of cool. Like, you're kind of like, oh shit, but at the same time, it's just kind of this whole series is underwhelming. Like, that's the problem. Is it's Sinestro, and it could be really cool and brutal.
And you feel like he deserves better.
Yeah, absolutely. This was definitely a much better step in the right direction, more in the step in vein of Magneto, but it's still too goofy at the moment. It's still too, like, look at all this light and stuff instead of instead of being a dark Sinestro story. Which, I mean, it could turn into that, and we seem to be heading in that direction, but we'll see.
Okay.
It's definitely gotten darker and more brutal. Like, they're killing a bunch of people.
We definitely had a lot more to talk about compared to the first issue.
Yeah, it's just like there's a lot more going on, and I definitely approve of this. I'll give it a 7 out of hope.
Out of hope.
Yeah, because in real life, it's a
7 out of St. Walker.
Yeah, because really, it's a 6. Like, it is not that great of an issue, but I'm going to give it a 7 because it makes me go, yeah, it could be good. And, like, yeah, so we'll see. I'm still not buying it because it's still like,
Alright,
what was the other Marvel title we read in store?
Well, we read Magneto.
Now, Magneto...
This is Colin Bunn good.
Oh my god, is it good?
Magneto's so great.
This issue's fucking fantastic.
What is this now? Issue 4 or 5, I think?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it is incredible. Like, this...
And brutal. And super, super dark. And, man,
the art.
I kind of love that Magneto's gotten nerfed.
Yeah.
Because now he has to be a lot more practical.
Yeah, and I love that even though he's nerfed, they keep flashing back to when he was at full power, and you just get to see these demonstration of power, like, that Magneto can do, and you're just like, oh.
So even the littlest things, it's like, oh, great, he has some barbed wire floating around with him. This ain't gonna end well.
No, at all. It is a wild, like, ride reading this book. It's crazy. Got full of action, blood, guts, flashbacks. This is like
everything a growing boy needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really enjoyed this Magneto issue. Like, I'm going to say it right now. It's a 10.
I think it's a 9. I don't think it's quite a 10.
I think the art pushes it towards a 10 because I love those panels where it's just him walking into the abandoned factory.
He walks
all
a lot.
Black.
He walks to a lot of places very.
Oh yeah, it's so like da 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 da. Like you feel like you're reading a trailer for like Magneto, but it's still got some substance to it. It definitely feels like get pumped for more Magneto.
Magneto's so slow though, but you just don't feel it because it's so engaging.
Yeah,
because it is really slow. Like the plot still
hasn't started at all.
Started yet?
We just see Magneto going around messing up people who
and being brooding and
yeah.
talking to himself. And you're just like, yeah.
Nothing has happened yet, but you are still like, this series is great. like it is. It's just a grand old time. Like I think that not grand old time. It's brutal as hell, but like it's cool. Like it's definitely
like
got
a messy kind of grand old time.
Yeah, like that's the thing that Sinestro goes for it goes gory, but it goes too far, and I think that like Magneto goes gory and it's just like brutal, and you're like, and you feel the destruction instead of Sinestro where it's just like, I'm Sinestro and I can kill people with this ring, not like a Green Lantern. You know, like it's just like, oh, because he's a Yellow Lantern, he can kill people, and like, and it's just not as cool. And I just feel like maybe DC's putting too much of a hand on Sinestro. And like, it sounds like an editor book, you know? Like, it sounds like an editor was like, no, make Sinestro happen. He's a popular Green Lantern character. I want Sinestro book. And it just
maybe
feels...
Maybe Sinestro doesn't need his own solo series.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Magneto kind of needed his own series because he can tell tons of stories. He's been in so much Marvel history.
That, and he's been, like, up and down.
Yeah,
like,
good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
Like,
and in terms of, like, power set, like, taking orders from Scott, being, like, the leader of the Brotherhood, not being the leader of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, it's just, like, they could, like, Sinestro doesn't feel as connecting. That's the thing. You immediately connect to the Magneto series. You go, whoa, cool. But this doesn't. Sinestro just kind of,
yeah.
It puts you off with a lot of stuff. So I really, it's like, this writer is good. It's just he needs to put it in the right direction, I think. That's mostly what's happening. What's next up on our list? The Daredevil annual.
The Deadpool annual.
Deadpool annual, not Daredevil. I'm just getting excited about Daredevil later. But Deadpool annual, number 2?
Yes.
Now, who's
annual
the writers on this?
I already forgot the name.
Okay, but
Christopher something.
And so it's not Gary Dugan.
Christopher Hastings.
Yes.
There what it was.
It's not Gary Dugan, and it's not Brian Posehn, and that made us go, no. That's why Deshaun didn't buy it at first, but we read it.
It was mostly to save money. I'll buy it later.
He needs food. What can you do? But but this is a really fun read.
This was really funny. This was really fun. It's not the same kind of humor. It kind of reminds me more of like Daniel Way's humor when he's on his A game.
Absolutely, because it's wacky. Yeah. It's not exactly coherent. It's just wacky. Like, because that's what I've loved about Gary Dugan's and Brian Posehn's run is it feels very mesh.
Yeah.
You know, like it actually all works together and it leads towards a story. This is just like...
so Spider-Man's tripping balls because the Chameleon is messing with him. And so Deadpool decides to take his place, and he fucking takes his costume and he does Spider-Man things trying to hunt the Chameleon.
Mostly, it's a vehicle to make fun of Spider-Man for an entire issue.
As per usual.
And it's hilarious. I'm totally down for it, because they make the right type of jokes, and they point out the right type of things with Spider-Man, and I kind of love it. Like, because otherwise I would have been like, Like, it's just kind of wacky, but, like, it's got the right jokes and made me laugh enough to be at the same par as the Gary Dugan and
in
Brian
the same
Posehn.
way that when Gary Dugan and Brian Posehn did their own issues, like when Deadpool stole Tony's armor,
Right.
or when he took Superior's web shooters.
Right. That's actually, like, that definitely is it, because it's just, like, you can make fun of, that's what they use it for, a vehicle to make fun of the character. And it definitely, it works so well here because it's such a big annual, and they could do big action and a ton of Spider-Man jokes.
Yeah, and it's well written Spider-Man 2 in the parts that he's in,
Yeah.
which almost makes me happy that Peter Parker's back.
Almost.
Just a smidgen.
I forgot this week, guys, to pick up Amazing Spider-Man 2. Not the movie, issue number 2 of Amazing Spider-Man. I'm really sorry. That was all my bad. I thought it was in my box, and I was just totally excited this was in it, so I didn't really give a shit. So I really just kind of was like, I gotta leave now. I gotta go read.
Yeah.
So, like, I totally forgot to pick up Amazing Spider-Man, but we get a little Spider-Man treat here, and I'm totally okay with that.
It's worth it. Completely makes up for it.
Yeah, and Amazing Spider-Man, as I think I said to Sean, I'm only going to give this next issue a chance. If it's good, I'll keep with Amazing Spider-Man. But I'm going to take it off my list and just read in Star afterward, because I can pick up the Superior Spider-Man issues that are going to come out in a couple weeks. There's going to be 32 and 33, and then they're doing in Ultimate Spider-Man. Peter Parker's just showed up again last week, so like
that probably won't last.
But it does. I just looked at the August solicitations, and it's Peter Parker versus Miles Morales, and I was just like, so what?
Bendis just fucking with everyone.
Yeah, really.
And plus Spider-Verse is coming up, and that'll probably be infinitely more interesting.
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm
amazing.
saying, is there's enough Spider-Man material coming out that I'm not worried that I'm going to lose Amazing Spider-Man. As much as, like, I'm pissed that Amazing Spider-Man's back, I can be like, well, there's at least, Spider-Man 2099. Like, and Miles.
Yeah.
But what would you give that issue? The Deadpool annual.
I give it an 8. I thought it was very good for what it was.
It was an 8.
I would like to see Christopher Hastings write some more.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not Deadpool, but we'll see. Maybe some Spider-Man. We'll see.
Maybe he'll be like the Shoaly Fish of this book.
Yes.
Or if it ain't going to be them, it can be the other end.
Alright, is there any other Marvel books that we read in store? No?
I think that might have been it. But
I think it's Forever Evil now, right?
No, I did read something else that you didn't read. I read Batman Superman.
Oh, right.
Which is Doomed Part 3.
Yes, how's Doomed going?
It's still going good. The best part of this issue is really what the entire plot's about. Batman, Wonder Woman, go inside the Phantom Zone.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, that's already a pitch.
You're like, alright, I'll read that comic.
Batman, Wonder Woman go into the Phantom Zone to find out the origins of Doomsday, how he escaped from the Phantom Zone. And
do we actually learn it this issue, or is it just like, psh?
There's some sort of crack in the Phantom Zone for some reason, and people have been trying to leak out, and they meet the ghost of the Phantom Zone again. Remember from the Action Comics annual with Crypto?
Yeah.
So they need his help.
Okay. Grant Morrison stuff getting mixed up and everything else.
So they bring him out.
Oh shit. Okay, that'll be interesting.
It's getting good. It's getting really cool.
No, it's funny because we complained Scott Lobdell wrote that first issue of Doomed. That was it though. He's not writing any other parts of Doomed.
Good.
I thought that was kind of funny. Like the next one is all Greg Pak and Charles Soule. I was like, all right. Like I was like, all right. They were like, no, Scott, that was bad. That was
you got your one shot.
You're done now.
No, excuse me while we just sweep you under the rug. Get rid of you. Where's
really
Jeff
though,
Johns?
the solicitations came out for, I think it's still September, or it might be October, and Scott Lobdell's not even on the list. He's only writing a Secret Origins issue and only a part of it.
He's not even writing Teen Titans.
Yeah. No, I'm so like, boom. I'm so excited about it.
Took long enough.
Absolutely. But what would you rate it?
I would give it an 8.
Yeah.
Very good. Lots of fun. It's Batman in the Phantom Zone.
It's Batman.
Have they done that before?
I don't know.
If they have. I don't remember it because that's really cool.
Yeah. Now, here comes the biggest disappointment of the week, guys. It's Future's End number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is the third chance we've given Future's End.
Really, though? Oh, yeah, 3. It's
3 issues.
The 4th issue because of 0, but
but we like the Zero issue. Like, and this one's just like
3 strikes.
No, I'm gonna keep reading it. I want to be abused. I think because that's the problem here. Is that
we'll treat you right. This time it'll be different.
It's the truth because this comic is such a whiplash. It goes from Jeff Lemire and Brian Azzarello killing it on certain parts, and then the rest of the writers just taking the baby and drowning it. Drowning the entire DC baby. Like, it is just being terrible. It goes back to bad 80s DC.
This could have just been a single event written by Azzarello and Lemire that would have come out monthly. It has no reason to be weekly because the whole thing just feels padded.
So padded out because this issue first starts off with Frankenstein moving around in the Arctic fighting off shield bits. And it's sweet. Shade bits. I said shield. Shade. But it is like sick. It harkens right back to Frankenstein, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You feel like you're reading it, Shade. Damn it, I did it again.
Because that book was really good and should not have gotten canceled.
Yeah, so like, immediately I was like, all right, this is sick.
Yeah, Jeff Lemire working in the stuff that gets taken away from him as per usual.
But then,
boom!
Like, literally, it goes from being awesome to being shitty in like 2 seconds.
Because of Firestorm. Still being an asshole.
A huge asshole.
Still flying around, keeping his buddy, or not really his buddy, captive inside the Firestorm body. And then when that crap is over, we're on to Grifter.
No, but that's not even the problem, is there's no consequences for Firestorm being an asshole. It feels very DC where they're just like, this is horrifying, and they're not treating it as a horrifying experience.
And there's no progression either. It's the same shit we got last issue.
Yeah, like, literally Firestorm just goes around and tells the guy that no, he's not going to release him because you're going to make me look bad. He's gone fucking nuts. And then he goes and he hits on some girls and it works. Like, the girls are totally into him.
So he finds these girls in bikinis just like laying by a pool, like getting their tan on.
Yeah.
And because, he's the nuclear man, he comes in and gives them like a free tan, like an extra tan. It's just like, oh, how can we thank you? He's like, well, there's one way you can thank me.
How can you have sex as Firestorm? That's my question. Oh, and my other question that first popped into my mind is how did these hot bikini chicks know who the fuck Firestorm is? Like, I know I'm supposed to assume they live in a DC universe where everyone knows who a superhero is, but Firestorm is such an asshole. Like, why does anybody know who he is?
Maybe they just accept it as the norm. Just like, oh yeah, in this world, there probably would be a superhero that could help us out with our tans.
Oh my
it's
God.
Stupid.
It's so stupid.
And it's compacted even afterward, because once we're done with the Firestorm bullshit, we have Grifter.
And it's not even Grifter. I would almost feel like it's okay because it would be Grifter being like, dun dun dun, I'm fighting demons and shit, and he would be like hiding around corners. No, it's Grifter going to get groceries, and then he goes back and meets with his buddy, and they talk about demons some more.
Yeah.
More just exposition.
Because, oh man, can you tell this is a weekly series? That should not have been a weekly series, so we got to write about Grifter getting groceries, because that's completely engaging.
It's so like, and then the end of the issue is badass. Like, it goes from being like it's like a bad sandwich. Like, you have these nice pieces of ciabatta bread at each end, and then you just have like bad moldy meat in the middle. Because the end gives you a nice twist. It's cool and it works, even though it's simple. But the rest of it doesn't. Like the beginning with Frankenstein's great, and then everything else is crap. It's just,
I'm done with it.
You're done with it?
I'm not reading it.
I feel you, but we're they already have out to issue 20 planned out, dude.
I know.
And it's going to affect everything.
It's going to last. Is it really going to
It's going
to.
It's
is it
No,
really?
it's not. They're going to revert it.
Really?
They're going to revert it.
It's time travel. They're just going to fix it by the end of everything.
I know. They're just going to revert it.
They killed Green Arrow, for fuck's sake. That's not going to last.
No, absolutely not. But it's 5 years in the future. You never know.
It's time travel.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up in a neat little bow that I won't give two fucks about.
That's my problem, is that we already know this, and there's still 18 weeks already planned, and that's not even already into the Futures End month. Futures End month is September, and they only have up till August planned.
That.
So
maybe I'll read up until then because it's going to infect my books anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to infect your books until then, so it's just crap, because I don't want to read this. I want to read Batman Eternal. This is how you do a weekly series.
Weekly series, done right.
Oh my god. We'll talk about it later.
It's good.
We'll talk about it later. But this book, I have to give it a 4. I have to.
I would agree.
It's just so...
It's about
Firestorm's, I read Firestorm's dialogue in Linkar's voice. Any big comic book fan...
It's just one of those bad comics.
Yeah, it's just oh god. So what's up next? Are we all done with in-store books?
I think that should be it, yeah.
Time to the poll list. All right, guys. It's finally here.
Yeah, so we were talking about this last week. We were just is Forever Evil done? Did we miss that?
And it finally came, guys. It's finally here. And so I was not excited for this final issue because it took so long. I was so what?
It's not that I wasn't excited because I feel like the Forever Evil book by itself is always better than the tie-in stuff,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
I was still excited. It's just that it took so long that I almost forgot about
what
happened.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I was a little bit frightened. I'm why did it get delayed? What happened? But
this was badass. This was a lot of fun.
This is awesome. This pays off in the biggest way. Forever Evil is a huge event that has spanned so long. And it is so nice to see at least the main book finish nice.
Yeah.
At least finish in a way that's interesting. And this is
good.
Interesting.
Really, we've said it 1,000 times that the main Forever Evil book, you could just read that by itself.
You don't need to read...
You could read...
Justice
League is supplemental.
Supplemental, but you don't need this guy.
No.
No, you don't need Justice League of America. But this issue's $5 price tag. I think I got my money's worth. Absolutely. There is tons of action here. There's Alexander Luthor, Grayson dies. There's Cyborg kicking Grid's ass. There's a huge Ultraman versus
Alexander Luthor fight.
There's Firestorm versus Superwoman fight.
There's Lex Luthor being sympathetic and badass.
The Bizarro versus
Mazaz.
Mazaz. Oh my. This is such an action-packed, balls to the wall issue. I kind of love it because it does finish off dark.
And there's still tie-ins there's still more problems afterward. Not everything was wrapped up.
And in a good way, too. It doesn't feel like we left this open because, you got to keep reading comics. It's no, look, this is kind of more to what we were doing.
Good events,
Yeah.
tie into something probably even bigger later, given the ending.
Absolutely. I really love Lex Luthor in this. Lex Luthor's been the star of Forever Evil. And, we knew that from the beginning. He was the one narrating. But, this is his book. You could have called this Forever Evil Lex Luthor.
I'll give it up for Johns that even if stuff like Trinity War got sidelined for Forever Evil, at least we didn't know where it was going. At least it was unexpected. We never thought Trinity War would lead to the New 52 Crime Syndicate.
Yeah, absolutely not. I had no idea.
Never thought that Forever Evil would end up tying into Lex Luthor being a part of the Justice League or that little tease in the end.
That's exactly it.
And all I'm going to say about the ending is that I called it. If you remember last time we talked about Forever Evil, I called it. That's all I'm going to say.
He did, though. He totally did. That's all I'm saying. But, this, it's full of DC love. It's full of just all the things that I like when Jeff Johns is writing. That's the thing. Big action, big story, big conclusion.
That's what he's best suited for. Because every time Jeff Johns tries to go small for the main Justice League book, I always just end up kind of bored.
Yeah. and it's just like I think he needs the big storyline because like once he's in it, like this, it's insane. Like I mean, this book was dark from the beginning.
I think the storyline overall, as far as like the main book and Justice League is concerned, is a good event. I don't think it's John's best work.
No, definitely not. I think there could be a lot of arguments that Forever Evil is pretty damn good.
There was something that Devin Kopeck from Anti-Fanboy had said every time he read Forever Evil. He had been posting about it on Twitter. It's just like, every time I read Forever Evil, I love it until they do at least one thing stupid that stops me from completely loving it. And I'm like, that's kind of a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
It's really good, but it's held back by being great, you know?
Yeah. I definitely think this is one of, like, there's no part in this that makes me go, eh. You know, like, there's no real part in this that makes me kind of upset. Like, that's the good part about this.
You got upset about the tie-in stuff, like Justice League Dark and Justice League of America.
That's exactly it. That at least the 7th issue has me completely happy. You know, like, I sat there reading it, and there wasn't no part where I was like, oh, come on!
I would definitely recommend buying the trade.
Absolutely.
I think this will read much better as a trade.
As one book, absolutely. I think if you were suckers like us and reading it every month to month, and now 3 months later, I don't know how long we've been waiting for this. Like it definitely, like, we were suckers. We got suckered into this, and like, yeah, but I'm not exactly regretting it because I feel like I got the entire Forever Evil.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about us buying monthly to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get to understand the climate. I think that, like, because when I read Blackest Night, I think I understood all of it because I read all the books, and I think this is very similar to Blackest Night because, of course, it's Jeff Johns and it's dark and it's crazy, and like I think you gotta compare it a little bit. And I don't know if I like Blackest Night or this more. I think Blackest Night is such a nostalgia fest that it kind of trips over itself sometimes, and this is kind of goes its own way more than Blackest Night does.
It's on a lesser scale than Blackest Night.
Yeah.
It's dialed down more.
Even though the world gets completely destroyed in this, it's still Blackest Night seems to affect everything.
Yeah.
Like, and Forever Evil tried to infect everything, and they were like, please don't. Don't do that.
Forever Evil is very much a Justice League story.
Absolutely.
Blackest Night is more of a DC Universe event in its entirety.
Absolutely. So I will say that I really enjoyed this issue. I'm going to give it a 9 because the ending. That ending. Like, really.
I called it. So excited. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be great, and I love all the little twists. Like, and also, you realize here that Jeff Johns doesn't only understand how to write Superman. He understands how to write Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, you're kind of like, all right, this man gets it.
Well, actually, I'll just save it to when we get to Justice League.
Yes. So next up on our list is another Forever Evil tie-in. We're just finishing off today, guys. We're just doing it. So this is Forever Evil Justice League number 30 with Jeff Johns, Evan Rice, and Doug Mackey. And
artists.
This is new Justice League, guys. This is it's the new team. I love the new team. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a change of pace. I know Pierre would be like, no, Lex Luthor can't be Justice League. He's a villain. I don't like change. I don't like evolution of villains or characters. It's stupid.
Yeah, like I think we need to give this a chance because it's so it's well written. Like Lex Luthor, it seems like I think you put it best. It's more devious. There's something more to Lex Luthor than
of course there's an agenda, but it seems like there is. Lex Luthor does have somewhat of a heart.
Yeah.
And they explain it well here, that it's really about an ego thing.
Yeah, like it's great because they kind of put it realistically. It's not just like, and now I'm a good guy and I fight for the good guys. It's like, no, I'm Lex Luthor. This is what I've been wanting the entire time anyways. Like, what I said is that I think Jeff Johns got to the core of Lex Luthor and what actually he wanted. Because really, he doesn't want to kill Superman.
He just wants, he wants to have, like, a statue built to him. Yeah. He wants to be known as the world's like, hero.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he really does want to keep the world safe. Because if the world's not safe, he can't take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it like really shows off here that like that they really Jeff Johns just understands Lex Luthor, and like I think it comes across here really well. Because like I said, like Lex Luthor isn't all about killing Superman because it was kind of shown in Forever Evil. Like Manta was upset that Aquaman was gone, and that's all he really wanted was to kill Aquaman. It was revenge for him, and and a bunch of other villains only
and
wanted.
Luthor has always wanted to get rid of Superman, but there's a means to an end for that.
Yeah,
it's not. I mean, he hates Superman, but that's not really the biggest reason why he wants to kill him.
Absolutely, and I think that this issue kind of proves that this dynamic could work. It'll be definitely intriguing for reading to come, and I think it'll spice up at least the Justice League title a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Superior type thing.
Yeah,
like you know this isn't going to last forever, but for what it is, it's going to be really cool to see.
We're gonna take it as it is.
Yeah.
My first problem is the whiplash. Like my first problem with this book is that you get whiplash from how Wonder Woman acts in this, written by the same fucking writer.
That's what I was gonna mention.
To this.
Okay, so Jeff Johns knows how to write Lex Luthor. He knows how to write Superman really well. He's so on Batman.
Yeah, and he sort of gets Flash. He gets the joke. He kind of writes Wally West, even though it's Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I get it.
Oh my God! Well, he writes Wonder Woman like she's a goddamn psycho.
But that's not exactly true in every book. Like I said, she actually works here. She talks to.
But she's so
Superwoman.
Inconsistent.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like sometimes she's like motherly, and then in this she's just a crazy bitch. Like she's just crazy.
Just like the first issues where she just wants to kill everything, but then it just contrasts so poorly. Like if you go to Azzarella's Wonder Woman, which we're going to talk about later, of how she's very motherly, and when she gets angry, that anger is earned.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's actual character instead of just being like,
I'm an Amazon, I'm a warrior, I kill everything.
That's exactly it, and it's just like, whoa. They don't really. Lex Luthor doesn't really give the League much of a choice in accepting him. By the way, like I think Lex Luthor does the smart idea. He brings not only himself, he builds a new watchtower for the Justice League that's better, and then he brings in Shazam, which is smart because Shazam was going to be on the team anyways. But Lex looking like he's being proactive, being like, look at this other teammate. You need this teammate if we don't have Superman on the team.
It's a status quo change that I don't know if you got this vibe. I could see this in what they're planning for the DC Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
all the liberties they took with Superman's origin when they did that for Man of Steel. I could picture Batman, Superman ending with a government approved Justice League that they would have Lex Luthor run, and Superman would want no part of. Because you had mentioned it's a more realistic approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could picture something happening in these kind of movies.
It could. It could. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Fan theory.
Yeah. There won't be much of those.
Yeah, absolutely not. But this is a really interesting issue because, as we said, he kind of gets down to the core of Lex Luthor, and of course, Lex Luthor's also a douchebag. And
we won't tell you why, because you should read the issues yourself, but damn it, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, it just cements, again, why Lex Luthor is still one of the best villains of the DCU.
Yeah. So, we'll see how this plays out. That's the thing, is that this is a setup issue, and we'll see how it plays out. But for now, I'm going to give this... I kind of want to give it a 7, because it's nothing too special. But it definitely understands the character.
I would give it a higher. I think it's good. I thought it was really good.
For
what it is, I mean, it's not as action-packed or crazy as Forever Evil, but for an Aftermath issue, I think it does a good job of cementing the new status quo. It gives good reason. It gives good motivation for
Wonder Woman acting this crazy and being the shit out of Metallo for no fucking reason, and also how they're just going around beating up villains.
You would have to bring down a point for most of Jeff Johns' Justice League for that, though. He just writes Wonder Woman really inconsistently weird.
It's a little strange, so I'm going to stick with my 7, but 8, I'll definitely agree with you. Next up is our last Forever Evil tie-in of this month, and hopefully the last Forever Evil tie-in we talk about ever, is Justice League of America number 14. Now, please tell me, people, is this the last issue? This sure does feel like the last issue.
So it's a debriefing issue, for one.
Yes, definitely, if you didn't know what was happening in Justice League of America, read this issue so that way you can read Justice League United. It's mostly what's happening here.
So it's just so what happened to the members that didn't make it in United? Well, you're going to find out.
Absolutely. Matt Kindt does kind of a beautiful job of explaining why those guys are not going to be in Justice League United. It's just that he's dealing with a sinking ship here. Is like,
and they even mentioned that in the issue that Justice League of America was a ship that's already been sunk.
Yeah, so it kind of sucks that, like, because he tries really hard in this issue. Matt Kindt tries to make this issue interesting. But really, it's just where the fuck's Katana right now? What's Green Arrow doing? Like,
it's one of those things where it's like, yet another. I feel like Matt Kindt would do such a better job if he didn't have to deal with the Forever Evil stuff at all.
Absolutely. My main complaint with this book is that we finally get a glimpse at the fight between the Crime Syndicate and the Justice League.
In one 2-page spread.
That's it. This is it, guys.
That's it. That's all you need, right?
This is it.
That's all we need.
For the entire event, all these books, this is all you ever see of the Crime Syndicate fighting. That's it. 7 months of fighting.
That's all we needed, right?
Yeah.
Oh god, I keep forgetting the fucking Ultraman seatbelt belt.
Yeah, I kind of like it though. It's kind of funny. Yeah. It's like, what are you, 14? It's like, I went to Hot Topic, got this seatbelt. It's really cool. But this issue is mostly about Martian Manhunter being pissed that he doesn't know where
Stargirl is and if she's all right. Where is she?
Where is she? And he tears apart an entire facility. But the rest of it is just debriefing. Like,
yeah.
Where's Catwoman?
What else is everyone else doing?
But this book brought up a question to me and Deshaun. How badly is Simon Baz being shafted in the New 52? It's like, he's one of the new...
Do you remember anything that Simon Baz has done other than, like, get his ass whooped after Rise of the Third Army?
Yeah, that's it. Like, after Rise of the Third Army, after you guys ring...
And Wrath of the First Lantern.
Robert Venditti has, like, forsaken Simon Baz. Like, he just went full Interstellar, so that way Simon Baz is stuck on Earth and not doing shit
and
all.
He doesn't have anything to work with unless they're doing something with him in Green Lantern Corps, which I doubt.
I doubt, too. I'm sure it's all about Jordan or, I'm sure it's all about...
It's all about, the originals.
Yeah.
But Simon Baz was so cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like either he needs his own book or something needs to happen, like that he gets on a team, because they're just not putting him on Justice League United, which is kind of like, but why? Like,
well, I mean, given like the team's power set, I don't think it wouldn't be balanced enough if they added Green Lantern to the roster.
Yeah, I mean, it would just.
They got Animal Man.
Yeah, they got so many people that they can just use.
They have Animal Man.
Yeah,
Animal Man's so OP.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, we actually get a Simon Baz story here, and it just makes me miss Simon Baz. Really, it makes me go, "But dude, you're cool. Why aren't you doing anything?" And then Katana does something where she climbs a mountain. She pulls a Kirk in Star Trek and just goes up a fucking mountain by herself.
Climbing a mountain of ice, just being a badass.
It's like a total 80s movie moment. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. You get to the top and there's Green Arrow.
But as per usual for this book, I feel like the best parts are Stargirl's little bits.
Yeah.
And I told you while we were reading this that Matt Kindt, I think, would do a really good job if they gave him just a Stargirl solo book.
I would be down for that. I would read that, because Matt Kindt's not a bad writer. He just gets stuck with Forever Evil. Like, I think that, like, he could do some great stuff if they really just gave him the reins of something.
Uh-huh.
And I think Stargirl would be a really cool book by itself.
Oh, make it just a duo book. Stargirl and Martian Manhunter, best friends.
Best friends
They kind of became like best buddies after all this.
They do, and they kind of cement that in this book. I really do hope this is the last issue of Justice League United, because it does tie it off because it does tie it off in a nice bow to send it off to Justice League United. So it's not a great issue, but it ties the bow.
One thing that hasn't changed before after the reboot is the constant rotation of different Justice Leagues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like the Avengers in the Marvel Universe, it's ridiculous.
I'm going to give it a 7. What do you think? Or are you going to...
I'd give it a 6. I think it's okay.
Yeah. I kind of like the Simon Baz part in Martian Manhunter.
See how you have to make an effort to like... I kind of like the...
Okay, 6. Fine, you're right. It's not that great. It's kind of a letdown, even though Matt Kindt tried. But now we'll move on to, finally, No More Forever Evil. We'll go back to some Marvel books. Daredevil number 3. Daredevil, is my favorite now. Like
Of like the Marvel books?
like I can't say it's my all-time favorite or the favorite, but like whenever I read this, I go, "Wow, what a comic!" Like
I think I feel. I know like all the issues beforehand, starting with Mark Waid's run, since I made sure I like caught up before I started buying this.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I just started the Mark Waid run, so I'm still very far behind. But like, it's a beautiful thing. Like that's basically what you have to say is Mark Waid.
It's just so classy.
It's so classy and well done, and it's so comic book.
It's so classic superhero. I mean, one, because Mark Waid himself is very classic superhero, and then to topple it off and just compact it with Chris Samney's art, which is just so... look at this. Look at this.
It's beautiful. Look at that stuff. It's amazing. I love the storyline that's going on here with the Shroud, the Owl, and Daredevil. It's I love the twisting circles and all the betrayal and everything. It just makes for a really interesting read, and I think this is...
Look at the owl. The owl kind of looks like a cross between Kingpin and Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, he does. Just wearing the green suit. You're
Yeah.
like, what? Why would
And plus, even the way like his hair is kind of shaped, he looks like Ra's al Ghul.
Absolutely. I mean, I love Matt Murdock, and they have definitely made me fall in love with it. And in this,
With a much more light-hearted tone, Daredevil, which
Yeah.
they earned at the beginning of their run.
Absolutely. It's like it still can be dark in a way, like it deals with real issues, but it's still like a lawyer who's a superhero.
Yeah, it's Matt Murdock trying to have like a new, more optimistic outview on his own life.
Yeah, absolutely. And in San Francisco, like, come on.
Because he's done the brooding thing for a very, very long time. He was very much the Marvel equivalent to Batman.
Yeah, I feel like it was just a treat to read this. Like, that's all I'm saying. It's like I had a good time reading it, and like it was just so like, ooh, the entire time.
I'm so glad I'm buying it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That and it'll shut everyone up who says we don't buy enough Marvel books.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Just saying.
If you haven't noticed, we've been reading a lot of Marvel.
That's why our
lately.
shows have doubled
For
in
you
size.
guys.
They have doubled
For
in
you
size
guys.
because of Marvel.
You're welcome.
But really, any other final thoughts on this? Because I'm going to give it a 9.
I would give it a 9 too.
It's great.
Just-
If you're not reading Daredevil, it's only 3
it's just-
issues in. Pick it up.
And it's not even that action packed. It's just good, satisfying comics.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
Satisfying. Next up, another one of my favorite series in all of DC is Wonder Woman number 31. Oh, baby. This is still...
This takes a breath.
Yes.
It's a little, you know.
But why I say, oh, baby, is because Zeke, no! It's mostly the entire issue is like, Zeke gets stolen again. This baby is the most stolen baby of all comics. And definitely, you're right. It's a slowed down issue, but it's...
But it keeps you on your toes. You're still intrigued the entire time. It's mostly conversation about what's been going on, and it's real deep-seated issues that have been going on for a long time.
Yeah, and I was really freaked out by the scene in Hell. When they go down to Hell and it's all dark, and he's like, where's the lights of Hell? And then there's Kronos being fed his own stomach. Is that Kronos or is it Zeus? We were talking about that last week, and somebody corrected us on the comments saying it's Kronos because of the empty stomach and eating himself and the chained thing. But I don't know.
I guess so. Either way, it's a frightening scene.
Yeah, it's frightening. It makes me just go, "Wah." Like, but it's cool, and I really like the progressiveness that Brian Azzarello is bringing to Wonder Woman.
I like that Wonder herself, Diana, wants to evolve past the antiquated views of the Amazon. She wants to be traditional, but there are some things that the Amazons do that need to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that, like, Brian Azzarello is actually attacking those issues, because no one in comics attacks those issues because they're like, no, it's always comic lore.
It's the Amazons. You don't mess with the Amazons.
Absolutely. And I think it's great that like he's taking those steps to evolve not only Wonder Woman but the whole universe she abides in.
Take note, guys. This probably wouldn't have happened without the reboot.
And
Just saying.
The best thing from New 52 is Wonder Woman.
One of the best.
One of the best things.
There are a lot of good things.
There's a lot of good things, but Wonder Woman getting her own series and done by such a great writer as Brian Azzarello is
who's just kind of like come at me. So
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge everything about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and again, this is another issue not done by Cliff Chang, which you don't even notice. It's flawless.
I mean, I could still tell that it's not Cliff Chang, but every time they switch to a different artist, it's still always consistent.
that's what I love about it, is that you still feel like you are reading the same comic no matter what artist is drawing it. And that's classy.
Mhm.
Like, I just want to say
We
it
like
straight up.
consistency.
Yeah, it's just like, because whenever a comic switches artists, it just like, all of a sudden it's like, whoosh, it's a
not a
different
shame.
book.
It's not a shame.
And it's just like, I really like that Wonder Woman is very, Brian Azzarello, I hope he's demanding it, you know? Like, I hope he's just like, no, we want to keep it consistent. It's the same. And I think it works. It's almost like watching an animated series.
And
that
here's
way.
hoping to, like, him being on the book for so much longer.
Absolutely. I hope they sign him for at least 20 more issues. Like, at least get to 50.
At least get to 50, and then we'd be like, that's a good minimum.
Absolutely. I'm going to give this an 8. It's good stuff, but you're right, slow. It kind
I'd
of.
still give it an 8 for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we're now into our Batman books, and one of my favorites, Harley Quinn, number 6.
So this was all out insanity.
This is crazy.
Like,
This is insane.
it's so silly.
It's okay. So they tie off the Cyborg plot here, like her going around with Cyborg killing off old Russian spies, and like, dude, they close this off with a bang. Like, it is just ridiculous.
There are zoos, there's old people making out, there's a guy who gets his head chopped off, there's a woman who gets impaled by a rhino.
And of course, Harley Quinn looking hot.
Yeah.
So it works, and like, it is a ridiculous issue. Like, the thing is, it's crazy. Like, it's just so much nuts.
It's just so insane. But it has its own flavor. I'm glad
Absolutely.
that, because let's face it, this is kind of like the Deadpool equivalent now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it never feels like a knockoff, you know?
No. And especially Cyborg's such a fun, unique, weird character that it just drives this story so well. And like,
Which is good, but I'm glad this storyline's over.
I'm glad it's over.
I think it was just the right length, because I think any more
Absolutely.
than this would be going
Yeah,
on
I
for
would
a
be
bit.
like, oh my god, I don't care about Cyborg anymore. Like, but it finishes off, and we got a Poison Ivy story, and maybe we'll learn who actually is hunting down Harley Quinn in the next couple issues. Good news is that starting in August, now Harley Quinn will be a bi-weekly series.
Which is good news for, like, quality reading, but bad news for my wallet, because I'm the one who buys this. And bad news for Batwing and All-Star Western.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so upset Batwing got canceled this past week, guys. You know me, I'm the only person who reviews Batwing. So, like...
And we like All-Star Western, too. We're just not caught up. I buy it in trades.
Yes, and so I'm excited, like, hopefully it'll be good in trade, but at the same time, it's kind of sad to see Jonah Hex go down, because Jonah Hex is a staple of the DC universe. He shouldn't go down
Even
that.
if I would say a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah,
DC has a great roster for their Western cast.
absolutely.
They're mostly all awesome. El Diablo, Nighthawk and Cinnamon, Jonah Hex. They're all cool.
And Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray knew how to use them. That's what really was surprising, is that All-Star Western knew how to show off all the Western characters and not be like, it's a Western, you know? It was actually like, it had a tone, and it was going a certain way. Sure, it got ridiculous sometimes when Booster Gold showed up, but like, it still is a DC book.
I haven't read that far yet, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's kind of sad to see it go. What would you rate Harley Quinn number 6?
I'd give it an 8. Thought it was very good, very silly, very funny.
I'm gonna give
And
it
here's
an 8.
hoping to see what ridiculous antics she gets into next.
Absolutely. Next up is we're continuing with the Batman and series with now it's Batman and Frankenstein, people. Which is a good to have back. I'm kind of like, yeah,
Frankenstein and anything, you know.
And I mean, I'm always excited when Frankenstein's in a book, and I mean, even though it's not Jeff Lemire writing it, still good. Like, Peter J. Tomasi gets Frankenstein.
We had made the joke that it's just Jeff Lemire and Tomasi, like, hanging out at the water cooler, just be like, Frankenstein's awesome.
Yeah,
I know who's awesome, fucking Frankenstein.
we should put him in our books twice. Like, I should put him in Future's End twice, and you should put him in Batman and Robin Yeah, okay.
Is it still Batman and Robin? It's kind of a Batman and whoever shows up kind of thing now. It's just
But they've started the plot, the hunt for Robin, and it's going to lead into next month's Omega Robin
Rises.
Return
Omega
Rise.
Robin Rises.
I don't know. 3 R's. Reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Can we just kind of get this over with? Like Tomasi
did an interview. And he did an interview, and he's kind of alluding that it won't be Damian. I was reading this interview, and he says there's going to be a new Robin. But he doesn't exactly point at Damian being the new Robin. You can tell he has a love for Damian, and that he kind of wants to bring him back.
And that's my thing. They're always just like a new Robin. A Robin will be returning, but it's not Damian. Who the hell else would it be?
We'll see.
Someone we haven't thought of yet? Who?
It could be,
Dick is Nightwing.
I don't know. We'll see.
Jason is Red Hood. Tim is Red Robin. Damian's in the grave, and Carrie Kelly hasn't been set up yet, and Stephanie is Spoiler.
Yeah. So, maybe Carrie Kelly? That would be insane, but, I would be like, alright, New 52, push it. But, going back to this issue is that the thing is that not really much get accomplished this entire issue. It's kind of a fun issue. Frankenstein and Batman yell at each other at the beginning.
They yell, and then Batman befriends a bunch of Yetis.
And they go and find Ra's al Ghul. And that's basically it. That is literally the issue, guys, is that Frankenstein and Batman beat the shit out of each other, then decide to work together.
With a bunch of Yetis.
And then Batman friends a bunch of Yetis. And that's the end of issue, guys. It looks gorgeous, because, again, it's Doug Mackey doing fantastic art and great coloring, and I really think this is a cool-looking issue.
It feels like it went on for a bit, okay.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, what?
Real consequence kind of happened there.
Nothing, really. They're literally, this is a setup issue for next issue, and is next issue going to be called Batman and Frankenstein? Are we going to have double doses of Batman and Frankenstein for a couple issues?
Batman and Ra's al Ghul.
I'll be so angry if they do that. They're like, whatever character's the most important in the story, we'll name it after them. So I hope that it kind of finishes off well, but I'm getting this dreading feeling in my belly right here.
I'm starting to dread that this will just go on forever, because I got that feeling with the stages of grief thing that they did.
But that was organic, I felt. It worked because it was the actual stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're starting
on for
to...
a while.
Yeah, it definitely...
Because we go back to, Batman before he jumped to 0 year, and they just wrapped it up perfectly in just one issue.
Absolutely. And that's the whole problem, is that we're still on this bit, when it should be over now. We shouldn't be fucking about with this Robin shit. We should be fighting new villains.
At least he's not crying and psychotic.
Yeah, it's mostly the good part. So, I'm going to give this issue a 6, a 7 because of Frankenstein.
Yep. I was probably actually about to say the exact same thing.
Is that, it's really not a good issue, but if you're a Frankenstein fan like me and Sean, you're like, I love Frankenstein!
Any way we can get him.
Anyway, I'll take it. I'll take Future's End. I'll take Batman, and I'll take it. But I definitely am just thinking, where's the action? Where's the?
Let's see.
We'll see. But why is he? Is it going to be Ra's al Ghul, Batman, and Frankenstein, and a bunch of Yetis? Is that really the fight that's about to go down? Man-Bats versus Yetis?
Yep. I'm now much more excited for just picturing Yetis versus Man-Bats.
Oh, man, that's going to be ridiculous. So we'll go on to an actual good Batman title. So we knew that Batman was kind of slowing down, but that was because it was on the other end of the roster. I like thinking of these weekly series as and especially Batman Eternal, you feel it. It's a dial. And you dial to Tim Seeley, and then you go back to Scott Snyder. And now we're kind of back to Scott Snyder and what's good here.
Well, this issue the script was written by Tim Seeley this time around.
Really?
Yep.
Go him. Because
he does a good job.
He does do a good job. And he's the one I'm least confident in, he is definitely the one that I go, Tim Seeley, what are you doing, my friend? But John Layman and Ray Fox also help out on this issue, and it's an exciting issue. Mm-hmm. Lots of explosions. They don't slow down, which is good.
Just being super psychotic, and everything just kind of... coming to a head.
Yeah, and things they happen this issue, which
and
is
the
like
escalation
what
feels like it's earned, and I'm still on my toes. It's not like Future's End, where it just feels like it's going on forever. You gotta pad it out because it's weekly.
Yeah, absolutely, and because this is even though it's still silly, it's dark and big. Like the Iceberg Lounge goes down, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like this issue's like Sig the Iceberg Lounge, which is sick because we kind of knew that would happen at some point.
Because this issue doesn't take place in the future, the things that happen in this will have actual repercussions later.
Whoa! It's almost like fans like it when things have consequences and the story continues on. It's almost a little weird.
We talked about Frank.
I
don't like change.
I don't like continuity.
I'm still so offended that Superman's underwear hasn't made a triumphant return.
I'm just... we can always hope.
Where's the death and return of Superman's underwear?
Well, it could be somewhere in here. It could be. But you never know. This is kind of a cool issue because we get a lot of Batman, Catwoman action. And Catwoman... going from Forever Evil, where she kind of just goes off and does her own stuff, we actually get a good written Catwoman here.
The thing about Catwoman is that really, at the end of the day, right now, she just kind of just wants Bruce's affection.
Really?
She really just wants Bruce's affection, and he won't give it.
Yeah, it's kind of sad in a way.
And now she's just kind of acting out because of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like she's just trying to express, really, at this point, the only thing I want is you, and you're fucking denying me, so now I'm getting angry. And I'm gonna take it out on you later. We saw that little peek into the future with the actual Batman book.
Yeah, and I feel like that's it. That Catwoman's always been like this, but it's coming to Scott Snyder's doing a good job at showing it. You know, that actually bringing her pivotal point as a character to a head. And I think that's what's going to be so interesting.
I've always felt that if they were to just get together and just stick with it, it'd probably work for the better. We get Huntress.
Yeah.
Or we get another Huntress, rather.
I mean, it could definitely work.
Because they always do it in, Elseworlds Tales, and it seems to work out fine. Even, the little bit of it we get in Hush is really good.
Well, who else could Bruce be with, logistically? The man has a night and day schedule. He has to no one else understands the secret identity stuff, and no one understands the mission.
Maybe Talia, but Talia's crazy.
Yeah, and so is Catwoman. Anybody who's gonna be but somebody's gotta understand he's crazy.
But at the end of the day, she's just a cat burglar, and she understands him probably better than most, whereas Talia's a crazy terrorist.
Yes, absolutely.
Raised by a crazy terrorist.
Yeah, Catwoman doesn't go around just murdering people and performing genocide. And Catwoman just goes around being sexy and clever.
Stealing stuff.
Yeah, it's just okay. This is like Batman, come on, calm down a little bit. She just steals a bunch of shit. But what I liked about this issue is we actually got a kind of complete story. Usually at the end of an issue, they leave it on a cliffhanger. And definitely this ends on a cliffhanger. But Catwoman, but Mr. Pig kind of gets his revenge.
Professor Pig
kind of gets his revenge in this issue. Because the big villain in here is not Falcone, but his lackey, Mr. Rhodes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Rhodes is somebody from the old detective comics written by Dark Mirror, written by Scott Snyder. Black Mirror.
Okay.
That's it. Words.
That's for usual.
But Black Mirror is such a great story, and it does deal with Rhodes as a main villain and selling his cars, and how Dick, as Batman, dealt with Mr. Rhodes. And he's a very dangerous man, and I like that still Scott Snyder's yeah, I wrote Black Mirror. I'm going to work him in.
Of course.
I like it. And I also like that it kind of seals this story, it actually kind of wraps up Mr. Rhodes. Because it's he wasn't a huge character, but they kind of just go, whoop, and he's done. Yeah. And I like that.
And, of course, Professor Pig is insane.
Yeah, insane in a membrane. But overall, it's a short but satisfying.
Still, 7 issues in, Batman Eternal, still good.
Yeah.
Still good.
Still good, people. I will say it again and again. If you're looking for a you love weekly shows, you love Game of Thrones, you love True Detective, you love shows that you can come to every week that are fantastic and well-paced, ensemble pieces.
This is
your equivalent.
The weekly Batman series we don't have because a TV show, unless it was HBO or Showtime, would never have the budget for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is quite the read. It's totally worth it. If you're not picking up Batman Eternal, pick it up.
He's cool. He's cool.
So
I'd give this issue an 8.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. It's a very good issue. It's definitely not like, wow, I need to give it a 9, but it's an 8.
It's still really good.
Really good stuff.
Consistently good.
So that's it, guys. That's our first recorded video episode. Hopefully we can get it up to you guys soon. And also, it's the end of our weekly review. We will be reviewing Godzilla for this because we got a lot to say.
Yeah,
basically. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for the support, and please tune in for more Real Books Don't Have Batman.
There's still plenty of stuff to go. We still got to do the rest of the X-Men retrospective, which will tie up with Days of Future Past, which at the time of this recording is coming out this Friday.
Yes.
And then after that, after all the summer movies wrap up for now, before Guardians of the Galaxy
we'll
go up,
we'll go back to
the Year of the Bat. The Year of the Bat specials. We promise. We have a whole year ahead.
Absolutely. We'll get to them. No worries. Thanks, guys, for everything. Have a great week.